All right, let's learn how to get recommendations. If you're not in a demo, I would actually recommend that you open up another practice demo. We're going to start the practice demo here, and we're going to go over to page 18, okay? The last part of the presentation. So if you want to write down in your notes, there are 3 parts to getting recommendations. There's the setup, there's the ask, and there's the introductions. Setup, ask, introductions. So let's talk about setting up getting recommendations, Victoria, at the beginning of the presentation. So let's go back to day one and actually what we reviewed just earlier today, right? Which is where we have the customer download the My Cutco Rep app. That is the setting up getting recommendations. It's pretty simple. They download the app, they punch in 2 numbers, it asks them 2 questions. The 2 questions, by the way, are were you courteous scheduling the appointment and were you on time? So it's really easy. And then they're going to set the phone off to the side until you're finished with the presentation. Cool. Who feels pretty confident they could help a customer download an app, punch in 2 numbers, answer 2 questions? Almost never is that part the problem. It's the easiest part of the whole thing. All right. Then what do? You walk them through the whole presentation, right? Everything that we've already covered today. You go through the homemaker pieces, you drop down, you show all the options, you help them buy some Cutco, show them the gifts and accessories real quick. And then we get to page 18. Now, on every presentation that you do, you have 2 assignments. On every presentation you do, you're going to have 2 assignments. One is to get an order, 2 is to get recommendations. How do you know if you had a great presentation? You got some recommendations and you got an order. So listen, if you get 3 recommendations from a customer, you sell a trimmer, high five, that is a win. You got 3 more chances to make a sale and every order counts. Now, do sometimes customers buy Cutco and not give you recommendations? Yeah, sometimes that happens. Okay. By the way, can somebody still give you recommendations if they don't buy anything? 100%. In fact, some of my best recommendations of my career have come from when customers didn't buy. Let me show you this. Back in my day, we had to walk uphill to school both ways in the snow, and we didn't have this beautiful app. Okay, so what did we do? We had our handy dandy. Okay, 2 of you watch Blue's Clues. Thank you, Noah. So we had our handy dandy recommendations notebook, and this was the notebook that I used to write down and keep track of my recommendations on every appointment that I did. So you can see here, this is Jennifer Riley. These are the recommendations she gave me. This was like my second or third notebook. You can see Tommy Marcia Olson, Kit and Jenny Caldwell. This is Kathy Martin. This is the lady that had 8 trimmers and bought another $1,000 worth of stuff from me. And you can see that customer didn't give me any. That one gave me 5. That one gave me 5. I think I ran out of time on that one. That one gave me 9. That one gave me 8. That one gave me 6. That one gave me 10. Claudia Bowles lives down the street from my in-laws now. That one gave me 11. You get the idea there. Okay. And so what I would do is we'd actually have the customer handwrite the recommendations that they were giving us, which, we would like clean up the our knives and do that. Let me show you Naomi Latui though. Okay. So this is Naomi Latui's list. And Naomi and her family, we lived in the same neighborhood as them twice. So we lived in a super small town. They lived in the same neighborhood, like 5 houses down. We moved into the main town, and then they bought a house like right behind our house. So we lived in the same neighborhood twice, grown up with the Latui family, and her son was one of my reps. Anyway, so she didn't buy anything, no problem. She gave me 20 recommendations though. I was so busy, I only called through this list once because I had so many other recommendations and so many other appointments going on. I only called through it once, but look at this. I booked up 5 appointments from the 20 people that she gave me. And to those 5 people, that was an ultimate set plus flatware. That person bought a galley set. That person bought 5 pieces. That person bought some other Cutco. And Peggy was a no-sell. So of the 4 of the 5 people that I did appointments for, CPO wise, that was like over $4,000 worth of Cutco. Actually, it would have been over almost 5. So was it worth it to get recommendations from Naomi Latui, even though she didn't buy any Cutco? Yeah, I got 5,000 reasons why it was worth it. So here's how you're going to ask. On page 18, we have the script. Very simple. Mrs. Jones, how'd you like my demo? She's going to say, I loved it. Great. Go ahead and pull out your cell phone. You can answer that third question about my product knowledge for me. There's no need to make me sound better than I really am. I want to get real feedback so I can keep improving. And here's what the customer is going to see. At the beginning, they punched in the rep and the meeting number. They answered 1, 2 questions. They set the phone off the side. Now you're at the end. Now you're asking them to answer that third question about the product knowledge. There's no need to make me sound better than I really am. I want to get feedback so I can keep improving. Then they're going to give you feedback. That's the fourth one. And then there's a fifth one. Why are they getting Cutco? Or why are they not? Great. Then they're paused. Then you're going to smile and say, Mrs. Jones. Now, there is one more very important part. Here's where you can really help me out. I get paid every time I show Cutco, but I can only show it to people I've been personally recommended to. So what I'd love for you to do is to go through your contacts and jot down the first 100 names that come to mind. You're going to pause and you're going to smile. There's going to be a little bit of a comedic timing effect there, Bailey. And she's going to go, what, you want 100? No, I'm just kidding, Ms. Jones. Everybody gives me 10 to 20. Why is that helpful? Well, if you ask for like 10, how many are they going to give you? 3 to 5, right? But if you ask for 100 and pause and let that stick for a second, you go, I'm just kidding. Everybody gives me 10 to 20. It makes 10 to 20 seem a lot more reasonable, right? Actually, the app you downloaded is designed to be a huge time saver for both of us on this part. It allows you to send me introductions straight through the app, so anyone you recommend me to automatically syncs with my phone. This is so much easier, and of course, I'll only be able to see the contacts that you send me. On the bottom of the screen, click the share button, hit allow full access. So it'll allow full access to the contacts. It's not going to upload them anywhere, by the way. We can't see any of that. It just allows the app to see all of them so that they can be selected. And you're going to say, on this part, I'd like you to go ahead and check off everyone who you think might be what? Nice enough to see me. Not necessarily people you think would what? Buy. You're looking for nice people who might be willing to take a look. Check off as many as you can. Let me know when you're finished before you click the share button at the bottom. Take as much time as you need on this because it is the most important part for me to hit my goals, and I don't mind waiting. I love this phrase right here, by the way. Who do you know? Who do you know who dot dot dot? We call that a thought jogger, and here's why that's important. If I said, ladies and gentlemen, I need you to take your pen and write down 100 people by name, go. It's kind of overwhelming, right? You're like, right, Sonny? You're like, half. What do I say? But if I say, who do you know who lives in this area? Who did you go to high school with? Who have you played sports with? Who's your mom's best, right? You know what I mean? Those give you direction, and that makes it so much easier to think of people. So here's a couple of my favorite thought joggers that I would ask people like Naomi. I would say, Mrs. Jones, who do you know who likes to cook? Who do you know who likes to barbecue? Who do you know who's got a nice kitchen? Who do you know who has a big family, Mrs. Jones? Who do you know is the nicest lady on your street? Does everybody follow that? One time, fun fact, I got on a kick. I was like, who do you know that's got the best bread recipe? And then when I called that customer, I would say, hey, is this Sally? Hey, Sally, I did an appointment for Janice down the road. She said you bake the best bread. Is that right? And she's like, yeah, who is this? Oh, cool. Yeah, my name's Jesse. I'm doing appointments. And there was like instant rapport there. And I ended up getting like 6 like bread recipes on 3x5 cards. It's great. And then I lost all of them. I don't know where they went. It was probably the biggest tragedy of my college experience. All right. Once the customer checks off a bunch of people, so here's what it looks like for the customer. Right? They'll hit share, allow full access. Hey, it's a private secure system. It's only your representative that can see what you recommend. They check mark everybody they want to recommend you to. And then it tells them right here in the blue box or the button right there, it says share X number of contacts. That's where we're at. Before you hit share, can you tell me how many it says you selected in the blue box? If it's less than 10, you're going to smile and say, "Thank you so much, Mrs. Jones. That is a big help." When you give me at least 10 recommendations, you become a sponsor. When you give me 20 or more, you become a double sponsor. Once I have 50 sponsors, I get a free piece of Cutco from my manager to show on my presentations or to sell for cash. If it's less than 10, whatever number you need to get to 10. If it's less than 20, whatever number you get to 20. So, Ms. Jones, do you think there's any way you can think of 5 more people who might be willing to see me? So that way you can become a sponsor, a double sponsor of mine. And then if it's more than 10, be like, "Hey, by the way, my record is," and then tell them your record. Because you have some customers that are competitive. Anybody know one of those like soccer moms that's also competitive? Right, Victoria? I would tell customers, "Hey, my record, by the way, is like 20 or 30 or whatever." And they'd be like, "All right, cool. One sec." You know what I mean? And they'd give me 33, and then the next one gave me 36. By the way, 36 was my record. Using the app, I've had reps get to 70, 80, 120, 140 was the record. And I think the new record in our office is like 200. Obviously, that's a record, right? That's not everybody, but everybody think it'd be pretty simple to get to 5 to 10 or 15 or 20. Yeah. Now go and click the share button at the bottom. Easy. That is the ask. So again, it is the setup, the ask, and the introduction. So we just talked about the setup and the ask. So here's what I need you to do. I need you to read this out loud to yourself on mute 3 times in a row. Yes, roommates are going to come in and be like, "What's going on?" And you're going to read this out loud to yourself. But I want you to get familiar with how this script sounds. Let me find the right thing. There we go. Cool. If I don't see your lips moving, I'll make you read it in front of the entire training class. Ready, get set, 3 times. Go. Three times in a row. Keep going. Thumbs up if you got through 3 times. Almost. Okay, give me another 30. All right. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, how many of you have memorized something for school before, or a play, or life? When you're doing a presentation for Cutco, like what's selling Cutco for the most part? In a lot of ways, Cutco sells itself. Yeah. When you're asking for recommendations, what are you selling them on? So you very much want to be on point with that as quickly as you can be. So I'd almost challenge you. Memorize that today. There's like 15 bullet points. Memorize it today or memorize it by the end of your fast start. The quicker you do that, the more confident you'll sound, the more comfortable your customers will be giving you recommendations and giving you a lot of them. All right. Now, that is the setup and that is the ask. Let's talk about the introductions. Then what you'll say is, Mrs. Jones, thank you again. It is so much easier for me to contact people when they already have a heads up that I'll be reaching out. So go ahead and click the view shared in the top right hand corner. Click introduce next to the first one on your list, and then click the blue create message button. You'll see it gives you a pre-written text to introduce me to them before I reach out. So here's what that looks like for your customer. You can see right here. Where were we? There. And these pictures are slightly outdated, but still pretty close. So they'll hit share, share 5 contacts, and they'll be able to see all the people they recommended. And then what they do is they hit the introduce button, which opens up a text message, which how many of you have used the app? Like the Vector Impact app to send a text message before? Very simple, right? Same thing. And then they hit create message and check this out. It actually adds you as a third person on that text message. So you get three-way texted with all of your recommendations. So ideally what ends up happening, Fabian, is that your phone blows up with 5, 10, 15, 20 three-way conversations with you and your customers, your new recommendations. Here's why this is important. Back when I started, I didn't have my customers send heads up text. My manager kind of gave it to me as an afterthought. He's like, oh yeah, by the way, you could do this. So I got tons of recommendations. And when I went to call them, Soraya, what happened is I'd call customer and say, hey, is this Sally? Hey, Sally, my name's Jesse. I did an appointment for my Aunt Rachel the other day. She said I should give you a call. And the customer would be like, Rachel, the lady that we go to church with? Okay, who are you? All right. And there was a little bit of an awkward start to that conversation. When I started having my customers send the text, because I did, no, it made it so much easier because then I would say, hey, is this Sally? Hey, Sally, my name's Jesse. And my Aunt Rebecca said I should give you a call. I was over there, did a presentation. She'd tell you I was there, and they go, "Oh yeah, we got the text. It's like Cutco, right? Like what is it?" And then it was such an easier intro to that conversation. Somebody see that? Cool. By the way, usually what'll also happen is that your three-way text messages, the person who got recommended will send a thumbs up back, or they'll be like, "Cool, we already have Cutco, but tell Parley he can call us if he wants." And sometimes they'll say something like, "Hey, no, thank you, we're not interested at all." And shall, great, you get to delete that person off your list. You never have to worry about calling them. Almost done here. So you'll say, Mrs. Jones, thank you so much after sending that text. Go ahead and mark introduced at the bottom. So that one's finished. Let's go ahead and do that same thing for each recommendation. It'll just take a minute or two. And thank you again. This really does help a ton. All right. Let me show you where they're going to show up. Go ahead and go to your Vector Impact app. Show me your Vector Impact app. Okay. Go click on one of the days where you have an appointment. Show me one of your days. Okay. If you click on the appointment, you'll see the customer's name. See the customer's name, right? Now you could find that exact same customer in your prospect section, by the way, but you have their contact card right here. So again, once you click on the day, right? Click on the customer's like appointment. Let's not do that. You click on their appointment, you click on their name. Now, scroll all the way to the bottom of that customer's contact card. See how it says Recos or Rex? If you hit the little refresh button, the moment that they submit them in the app, they should automatically populate on your contact card. So you should be able to see exactly who it was and how many they gave you. Yep, exactly, Jake, at the bottom there where it says Rex. Make sense? Yeah. That's how you get recommendations. Now, here's how you finish that conversation. You say, hey, Mrs. Jones, thank you so much for those recommendations. If you were in a big contest like I'm in right now in my fast start, trying to do 30 appointments and sell $6,000 worth of Cutco, or 40 appointments in 10, or busy student trying to do 20 appointments, who would be the first 5 people you'd want to show? And then it says open the potential customer's profile vector impact. You'll be able to click on each one of the recommendations, and there's a little spot under each of their names to take notes. How do you know them? What do you like about them? Do they cook? Are they married? What do those questions help you do? Identify what kind of customers? Helps you suss out the HM3s. Right? So for me, right, back to my example here of Naomi Latui, what I did is I asked her about each one of those customers, and I took a little note here. So we've got sister, what's that one? Stepmom of Alex, football mom, client, friend, aunt, um, kids, friends, mom, acquaintance, works together, Randy and Laura Crozier's friend, daughter-in-law, massage therapy. Does everybody get that? Right. So that was a little quick intro so when I talked to each of those people, I already knew a little bit about each of them or how they knew them. That made it easy because then that way when I called, I was like, hey, my name's Jesse. I did an appointment from Naomi Latui. How's it going? Your kids play football together, right? Easy report. Then you wrap up by saying, thanks again, Mrs. Jones. You may end up thinking of some more people in the next few weeks, or you may end up running into someone who says they want Cutco. Anytime that happens, just pop open the app, send me more contacts, and they'll sync up automatically and let them know who referred them to me. Does everybody see the objections in the upper right-hand corner? How do you handle the objections? Well, I might say, hey, I'll send them to you later. Hey, that's awesome. I really appreciate you wanting to help me. I know you're really busy. I'd hate to have to call you back later. Is there any way you can give me just a few? I'm paraphrasing, but you'd read these. I don't know that many people. Hey, that's okay. I get paid just to show it. Even a few really helps. Can you select a few? By the way, when they say I don't know that many people, what they're actually saying is I don't know that many people who I think would buy. Your customers will be the first persons landing to prejudge their friends. I had one customer that was like, hey, I'm going to give you this lady, and she's nice. She'll probably see your appointment. She's not going to buy anything. I showed that lady, like I called that lady and did an appointment for her. She ended up having an ultimate set already. So like your friends, like your customers prejudge their friends all the time. Oh, I don't like giving out people's names. Hey, no problem. I don't blame you. If anyone else was going to give them a call besides me, I'd be hesitant too, but it's just me. So can you check off a few people? Let me talk to him first. Hey, actually, we have the app and the app gives a text message. Again, you can read these. Ooh, I don't have a phone or, ready? How many of you know somebody who just doesn't do apps? Anybody know somebody in like the cybersecurity world? And they're just like highly skeptical of downloading anything. Like our app is a safe app. We're not going to do anything with the customer's information. And also, every once in a while, Bailey, you get somebody who works for Department of Defense or tech or whatever, and they're like, we just don't do apps. If they say that at the beginning, don't ever make a fuss about it. Just move on. It's okay. There's a way to do it at the end. Now, if it's grandma and she just can't download an app, like you guys are all tech savvy enough, you can help grandma get to the app store. She doesn't know what the app store is, but you can help her get there and download an app and punch in some numbers. That's not that hard. But if for whatever reason they don't download the app, you guys see this right here? See this right here, Blake? Right here, mycutcorep.app. They can punch in the information, hit share. It'll pull up your presentation. They'll give you feedback and they can manually enter all the recommendations in this way. Hit submit and it'll automatically pop up on your phone as if they downloaded the app. It takes them like a little extra work to type them in, but they can still totally give you recommendations. Last resort, ask again and smile. Cool? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, now we're done. So let's give you some assignments